Oyeyemi, a partner at AO2 Law, joins me virtually for this latest development. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today, Mr. Oke.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
Now let's start off with the uptick we're seeing in the price movement of Bonilite, especially for the fact that we're also seeing a bigger production volume due to the resumption we are seeing here at Forkedos as well. Let's have your take on how well we can sustain this upward price movement and whether or not Nigeria can really reap in the benefits at this point in time.
So I think it's a good occurrence where the price surge is good for us revenue-wise. At least it means that we're able to sell at a higher price, perhaps not necessarily affecting the futures market. These are spot prices anyway. But in terms of the ability of Nigeria to harness, I think this is also a good opportunity in the wake of the speculation on the ban or the cap on oil from Russia. But I think the most important thing for me is the issue of evacuation, right? If we are unable to solve some of the evacuation challenges, as you have mentioned in your opening remarks, with regards to pipeline vandalism and things like that, then we may not necessarily be taking advantage of it, because if the oil is produced, right, and there is no way to evacuate, then it gets stuck in various locations. I'm aware that even because of the vandalism and pipeline issues, some companies have had to shorten production because there's no way to evacuate. So for me, it goes beyond just having a surge in prices, but we need to take advantage of it by ensuring that there is evacuation, as it were, in terms of we being able to evacuate and sell the relevant produce.
Now, Mr. Oke, by the 5th of next month, we are also expecting details of the ban, the cap on Russian oil from G5. That's just a couple of days to go. But in terms of taking up the opportunities here, we're also seeing a huge divestment when we are looking at the playout of international oil companies here in the country. But there is also that gap where we also need to see local players take a bigger footing. However, within this space of time and the opportunities that prevail, understanding this cautious optimism you see here, how do you think we can now make it a bigger reality to reap in at this point?
I think in terms of the opportunity, particularly on the indigenous side, I don't think, in my view, the indigenous players are also contributing quite significantly, or in an encouraging manner, to put it, in terms of the output and in terms of the export which is available for sale. Definitely, there's still a problem of perhaps capacity or the inability to evacuate. Sorry that I'm going back to that point again. You would see that the evacuation problems have also led to various other solutions, such as virtual pipelines, whereby trucking and barging is being used. So there is still significant opportunities, even for the indigenous players. You have more players coming in now on the back of the marginal fees regime. Bid rounds that were started in 2020 and I think conclusively completed perhaps early this year. So there's opportunities, even in the wake of the divestment. There's also opportunities for indigenous players to ramp up and also show that they are capable of actually sustaining oil production in Nigeria. No doubt the large numbers still come from the IOCs, which is understandable anyway, but I don't think indigenous players have done badly, in as much, if we compare some of their current challenges with regards to vandalism and evacuation.
Okay, now, Mr. Oke, moving on to some of the big stories of the day and the talks we have coming from COP27. Today marks day 4, and as part of the contributions we are seeing from the likes of the Gates Foundation, also pledging about $1.4 billion to ensure that we are seeing a reduction and some support for local farmers. We're also seeing that as well from the UK government. However, the concentration is tilting towards agriculture, and within that line, when we're looking at climate adaptation and financing, but bringing the conversation towards the oil and gas sector now, in terms of Nigeria's gas commercialization plan, looking at 2035 target and then the net zero target at 2060, how much of a pool of interest or investment base do you think we can likely have from conversations at COP27 and also locally make that manifest here?
So if you look at the gas commercialization program, I think it's one of the laudable projects to, with respect to ensuring that we meet the zero target emission by 2060. The program, as you may have been aware, ceased in 2020 in the wake of the pandemic. But earlier, or I think about in October of this year, I think there was announcements by the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission to relaunch the gas flare commercialization program, and under an accelerated scheme. And the target for the commission is that this will be completed by end of the year. I think gas is quite sad because it has been described as what we call the transition fuel, perhaps from what we would say is dirty energy created by oil as of today, and perhaps in terms of what we want to achieve, which would be 100% clean energy in terms of renewables. Exactly. So gas stands as a bridge between where we are coming from and where we intend to go. So the gas commercialization program, as far as I'm concerned, it's a good step for Nigeria to achieve, to comply with regards to a cleaner source of energy.
In about 30 seconds, just to wrap up this conversation now, let's also have your take on the move by Shell and General Electric moving towards hydrogen gas deal, the signing of this gas deal towards a part of decarbonization as well. What sort of prospect do you see this bringing to the fore?
I think it's good. It's essentially I think the summary of the deal is ensuring that we are moving, or the world is moving fast towards cleaner fuels through the use of hydrogen. I mean, essentially, General Electric would power its turbines using hydrogen for the production of LNG. So I think it's good, and obviously this will be new technology, which will be perhaps more prevalent in the near future. So I think it's good, and it's the right step looking at the energy transition process.